Well, no Greg tonight. We've got the keys to the bus. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a couple special friends, Ryan Lindley from the Sheeple Shepherd podcast and Lachlan Cross from 95.7 Cruise FM. Thank you
Hi,
guys for
everybody.
joining. Yes, let's roll.
Why am I here?
I think
For
we're just.
entertainment.
I think we're here to let everybody know that Bondzee
Bondzee's
isn't
dead, and this is sort of a pre-wake.
here. We just wanted to make sure everybody knew. Before,
What happened?
Yeah.
Last
And
night, go ahead, Locke.
Glassy. I was just going to say, I think people are probably mortified and extremely disappointed that we're here because there was supposed to be a very special guest on this evening as well, right?
Yes, there was. So what we've done is because Bondzee did, we hasn't tested positive per se, but we're all putting bets aside. That
We're pretty
he has-
sure he's got
we're
No,
pretty
COVID.
sure
he's got
COVID.
Yeah.
got the vid. Yeah.
He's
sure.
got COVID. So tonight, Pixie, she was going to join the show. Great girl from the Next on Stage 1 podcast. Everything Adult Entertainment. We've chatted with her. We postponed her until next Wednesday. And
I'm fucking disappointed I'm here now.
I know. So many people were like, "This is."
So, Lachlan, we're going to need you to get on that pole behind you there. And
Yeah, on it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done the pole dancing?
are you out of your fucking mind? Have you seen me?
Yeah, I've done it.
Have you really?
I did it
You
with
do
the-
yoga, though.
I did it with the midget, and it's not easy, man.
Oh, yeah.
it's
No,
fucking hard.
You do yoga. If I did that, you'd have to phone the fire department to actually get me out of the position I'd end up in the floor. So
It's insanely difficult.
Yeah.
What these girls do on that pole is unbelievable. Like it's incredible. And we went down. This was Miss Nude Canada. This is quite a few years ago. I think I was still at the Bear when we did this, and we went down to Peelers, and people will know Peelers because of Diener's Foo movie. And it was filmed partly in there when he did the Foo movies. And so we went down, and this girl, she was highlighted for that weekend, and she gave us some lessons. And at the time, I was on the show with Jimmy. It was myself, it was Jimmy, and it was Warren Barris. Now, Warren Barris is an extremely large man. Like, if he's not 400 pounds,
that's a big dude.
he might be more. Like, yeah.
And Toby's
Like,
so
I think
skinny.
he weighs more than my Civic when I was 18.
True story.
How'd you make out though? And this is obviously pre yoga. I would assume.
If you go to the Locker Room YouTube page,
Yeah,
there's video of it. Actually, I'm pretty sure we have video.
I'm trolling that all day tomorrow while I'm at work. Cannot
We should
wait.
go to their YouTube pages.
It is great, actually. I love Locker Room TV. It's one of my favorite things to watch. It's so funny, and it's like it's perfect micro content where it's like 2 or 3 minutes tops, and it's funny as hell. You guys are so good. You guys do such
Who's this girl that was supposed to be on tonight?
Her name's Pixie. She's on the Next Up on Stage 1 podcast. She's out of Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
They've got quite a following. I reached out to her last week because I listened to a couple podcast episodes, and she gets into everything. Like, she's a former stripper for one.
Yeah.
Second,
Aren't we all?
Exactly right.
every day.
Exactly. She talks about pole dancing fitness, which is
Yeah.
great. A lot of women do that, which my ex did that. And I was kind of like, what? You're doing pole dancing fitness? And sure enough.
Never did that when we were together, you bitch.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
That's what she said
I
she was
dated
doing
a
on
girl
Wednesday.
after.
Lassie.
I dated a girl after her dad owned AOT Custom Drums, and she had a swing set, no bullshit, from the ceiling. The ones that hang from the ceiling, lock, maybe? No?
I know.
You've been married too long.
I've been married a long, long time, and there's no swing set in my bedroom. But I understand what the thing is.
Mhm.
Yes. So I mean, you
Lachlan's
can keep describing
Lachlan's
it
made
classy
it.
if you want, though.
Lachlan's made it
100%.
very clear to all of us that he's missed out on so much.
So much. Hey,
I don't
before
regret the decisions I made as a
Same.
young man to settle down and get married. It probably saved my life. But I do occasionally. Here's what I do. If I've got a friend that is in a situation that is enviable for a man that has had very little sexual activity, I force them to give me details about what they're going through. And I enjoy people's stories that I didn't get to live.
You live vicariously through their stories.
Yes, like is there shaving involved? Is there a swing set? Do these
goats? Are there any goats?
Do these women bring toys into the bedroom with them?
Or friends?
Or friends? I Google that a lot, right? Like, so that's one of my fantasies. Trust me, I brought it up with the wife. It's not a go.
No, she said no.
She's been quite clear on that. Yeah.
Nobody's knocking on that door knocker.
Also, I would also highly recommend that you don't bring up like a specific individual. Like, let's say you bring up some, like, hey, what about so-and-so? This is a mistake.
Locker room tip 101.
100%. We should maybe not do that.
Don't talk about the neighbor lady.
Yeah. So all these people that are tuning in right now are like, they came in to see some pole dancer, and they got fucking
we got
lock.
You got these
Glassy.
guys.
I don't even know what to say about that fucking mess. And Ryan, who's like,
we drink because we have
3 sheets to the wind.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Why we're here is because Bondzee is dead, and
we're taking over the podcast.
That's right, and we've taken everything. And if I don't know if you guys tune into the main show on the network here, which is the Dean Blundell show that runs every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. We found out that most of our stable is positive with COVID, and the only ones that were spared on today's show were Lachlan and I did a test live on the air, and Dean did a test as well, and Dean also tested positive, which was
on the podcast.
Yeah, right on the podcast. We've got the video too. If we're going to roll that in a second, but yeah, we were a little concerned because we were actually with Dean this weekend, Ashley and I, and we all did rats prior to the visit to make sure, like doing the responsible thing. Did the rats, showed up. Everybody had a great night. Everybody felt fine, and then we found out that Dean rapidly declined as of Monday.
He was sick on Monday.
Yeah, he was telling us it was before you came into the pre-show today, and he told us that he wasn't feeling so hot, but he powered through on Monday. That's why he was a bit snippy on Monday. He was a little bit crabby. What? Yeah, he was a bit crabby on Monday.
He was crotchety with us.
Yeah,
and on Tuesday he was as well.
Yeah,
right. Like and not. We all roll with it, right? I mean, we're not always in the best of moods, and so we didn't really say anything at the time.
Yeah,
I said, "Are you okay?" on Tuesday.
You did.
It was obvious to me before we went on the air. I said, "Is everything okay? Like, are we good?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "All right, well, let's go," because I could tell that he was off.
But then we had a great show.
We were fucking annoying him.
We were. But then he said it was great, and I think it was because of the fact that we wouldn't shut the fuck up, and he just kind of got to like ride a little bit on that one because I think he wasn't feeling hot. So.
No, he wasn't. No.
Yeah. So anyway,
he was sort of cresting on Monday, Tuesday, and then he's coming down, but he still tested positive today. I think the scary thing about this one, and Ryan, you and I talked about this today when you phoned me. And said we need to fill in for the now deceased Bondzee. You said,
"Rest in peace."
R.I.P. Here, we will miss you.
Go back for a quick second.
Is the bus still available?
It's for sale in Arizona still.
No, he said no. He told Lachlan and I in a very private conversation that it was ours. So, if he ever died, it would be ours. Yeah, he told us that very private.
There you go.
We'll come get you. We'll go to Vegas.
There you go. That's the bus right there. Cartoons, bus. Let me do this before we get to that video. Tonight's episode brought to you by Positive Mike's Brewing. Go check out their swag. They got a lot of t-shirts. Find them on Twitter at Positive Mike's. He's out of Edmonton, Alberta. He's beautiful. And what's the other one? Oh,
bit of a dick, but I get it.
He's good.
He makes good beer. He sent 3 bottles over here.
Unbelievable. Did you get beer?
I got 3. I got one of the habanero mango ones, and I got
isn't that beautiful?
Nutty Maker, and I got I can't remember what the other one was called, but I drank them. They were so good.
Yeah.
And I'm not a craft beer
IPA?
guy. I think so. I can't
Nutty
remember the
Maker.
name of it. It's got a really, really funny. He's got
Was
really
there a
witty
rum
names.
one?
That's the one. The rum
That's
one.
it.
Yeah, the rum one is probably
Rum lager.
That's rum. Yeah, that's Grant's favorite.
That's so tasty.
Listen, he's a really annoying individual, but he can make beer. Like he fucking knows how to make beer. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a hearing issue. I can't hear you. Can you just leave the beer?
On Twitter, if you choose to.
Fantastic, guys.
Can't get the beer, but you can get the swag. Also, tonight's episode brought to you by Shakespeare's Fine Dining out of Hamilton, Ontario. Curbside pickup because COVID, you can't do nothing anymore. You can just pick up meals. You can't sit anywhere, even though you're double or triple vaxxed. Visit www.shakespeares.ca. There you go.
Very good.
There we go. Okay.
We're going to get through this.
I think
we'll
so.
get through this.
Glassy, thank you for getting the sponsors in. Where were we?
Well,
Bondzee's dead.
We're gonna see the videos of what happened today with the guys on our show.
Do you want to roll
and watch
first or Dean first?
And make sure you watch. I can't remember which one has it, but make sure you watch Bondzee at the end of the video. I cut the promo right at the point where he was hacking his lungs out, and then it goes into the harmonica. It's really good.
That's Rooks.
Just roll it.
Check it out. Here we go.
So hopefully Jimmy will test.
So those two lines that you got, Chris, those are pretty solid lines. That means you're like way sicker than me.
Dark.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess so.
Fuck.
Really
I don't know. It was. If I wish I had a video of me waking up in the middle of the night yesterday. It was hilarious.
Loss of appetite, one of those things?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, they say drink lots of water
not.
too. Keep the fluids up. You just see him dying in the background, the poor fucker.
I got one earlier in the episode that I'd picked up here.
Face watching a fucking trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite jackass moment out of
the trailer. He was a little more lively, and he didn't look as gray in that part of the video. But by the end of the show, he didn't sound. He didn't even sound like he was with us.
He was also doing this too, right? Like,
yeah,
he was doing a lot of the
fancy.
Yeah, he was not good.
No, I was texting him. Go ahead.
The funny thing about this whole situation is just the conversations we've had about who's vaxxed and whatnot, right? And a lot of people might not know this, but so he was in the States when the whole vaccine thing came out, and he was surrounded and he had people in his ear about the vaccine, right? I mean, there is way more division down in the States, and I think he started to get a little bit worried about the idea of, and Glassy can attribute to this, attest to this. I think he started to worry about the vaccine and that it might not be a very good idea.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got on his case a little bit about being an anti-vaxxer, and he switched gears, but he still didn't want to. Yeah, he didn't. He came around, but he didn't really want to do the whole Pfizer route. He did a little bit of research and ended up getting the Johnson & Johnson because it's a one dose.
Yes,
that was why he did it, though, Ryan.
I know. I'm aware.
He thought that I'll get it done. I'll be out and free, and then I can just go about my business. And that was kind of what a lot of people were talking about when the Johnson & Johnson came out, that it was a good alternative to the mRNA, because the Johnson & Johnson is a old vaccine technology.
viral vector technology, which is what,
and so he thought he was doing the right thing and avoiding the more experimental, not my word, the mRNA. He avoided that, and then I know for a fact, based on him being on Dean's podcast, that he has no intentions of getting a booster or a Pfizer or anything like that.
I'm
getting the one that's fucking it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, he shot. That's what made Johnson & Johnson so more appealing to other people, because it was a single shot, right? It was an all-in-one. That's where Bondzee's at, is that because that's
like
myself, I hate fucking needles. I do. I do.
Yeah.
I eat fucking needles. If I was a diabetic, I'd probably die. You know.
Yeah.
Can't
See,
do
I was the same way, and then I ended up in the hospital with what I was just gone through, and I ended up having to give myself 2 needles a day if I wanted to go home. So I had to really get over that fast. So I did, but yeah, he did. He told us that he wasn't going to go and get boosters or wasn't going to get a second dose, even though they're saying that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine with an mRNA booster actually might trump all of us because of the way that those mix and match and it like
That's
covers a
what
wide
I've been reading
spectrum.
about the AstraZeneca Pfizer.
Same here, exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I'm thinking I'm Spider-Man now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've got all
Are you
three.
Are you still doing the shots twice a day?
No, I'm on pills now. They
good.
they almost kept me on the things, but then I had a last minute Hail Mary from one of the really good doctors at Hamilton Health Sciences who said there's this new drug, and they put me on the new drug, and I was able to just 1 pill a day, and that's it.
That's good.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm happy.
Here's one thing that I think will happen, Glassy, with what's happening right now
I'll
with
show that in a second. Go ahead.
with Bondzee, right? Because he's in a place now where he's sick, and he's getting hit pretty hard, and I think that he is going to get hit fairly significantly from this virus, from COVID, based
Absolutely.
on the fact that that he had the Johnson & Johnson, the single dose, and the efficacy. How do you say it? Ryan, help me
Efficacy.
out.
I love you. I love
What
you
is it?
so much.
What is it? Say it again.
Efficacy.
Efficacy
It's like rheumatoid.
went down significantly. That was on purpose.
That was so good. Anyway, yeah, no, you're right. It went down.
So
yeah,
it went
was
down
into the
significantly. So he's
basement.
getting fisted by COVID right now.
Yep.
Now, I think that's probably okay in the long run for Bondzee. And this is why. Because I think the antibodies will give him some protection.
Mhm.
And if he chooses not to get another booster shot, he'll at least have the protection from getting COVID. Here's
agree.
the bad news, and this is something that I think a lot of people need to be aware of, and this is not being talked about as much as I think it should be talked about. Bondzee will have erectile dysfunction for the rest of his life.
Guaranteed. No, it's pretty much
Because of
85%.
COVID.
Yep. Yeah, no, we did the
People
we
keep
did-
talking
we looked-
about this heart thing. No, it's the fucking. His
Yeah.
new nickname moving forward will be Limp Dick Bondzee.
Yeah, he's got
Man, he's not dead.
myodictitis.
Myodictitis? Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Myodictitis.
So he's going to end up being a fan of Pfizer moving forward.
Although
Yeah,
he
he's
does
gonna
smoke
need
a
it.
lot of weed. He does smoke a lot of weed.
A
True.
true
This came
came
out from
out, by the way.
Bloomberg today.
Yeah,
That
like a
CBD
copious.
compounds do
Copious
prevent.
amount.
You know what? This is the thing, and I love you, all you stoners. I do. I truly do.
Mhm.
But here's the thing. Every time there's any ailment,
Weed cures it immediately. 100%. 100%.
somebody
Guys,
will do a study about
breaking
how
news.
fucking weed is going to fix every
I've always. Oh, go ahead.
Parkinson's,
It's so-
Alzheimer's.
it's
Fuck,
true.
you
I've
name
always
it.
wanted to do a study, man. Like, who does these studies? Like, when you line up 12 guys in a room, and it's like, yeah, you want to smoke a lot of weed to see if you don't get COVID? Okay, yeah.
It's
sign me
just
up.
the cool. It was the
Like-
cool guy in med school that does all these studies. That's all it is.
I said
yeah,
this
no,
on the air. I wanted $10,000 for a grant to do one of these studies, and sign me up all day long. And I don't even really smoke pot. Like, so there you go.
I don't think you can write a research paper, Glassy. I think that's the biggest problem
Well, I
here. That
wrote
might
a
be the
paper-
biggest. That might be
I
the
wrote notes
biggest
today,
hurdle we have.
So I'm doing okay, you know.
Yeah.
Locke's going fuck.
You got Dean's video there, Glassy.
I do. Yeah.
So here's the minute where Dean found out he was positive.
A lot of
I've got a faded line.
I hope you
I've
all
got
have to
a
go
faded
out on
line.
Saturday and Sunday to do things.
Did you get a
When I
faded
call it
line?
football.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Is that a faded line?
Oh, that's
that's
not.
a fader.
That's a fade, bud.
That's
That
what
might
Lindsay
be-
got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that might be a positive, bud.
I think I'm
Ashley,
Yeah.
can you come look at this if you're watching?
Yeah.
That's what
Ashley?
Lindsay got. And it was
Yeah,
Faded
hot.
that's-
line of the faded line.
What do they call that? Did they call that
Take a look at Dean's.
a
I
false
think just having a
negative?
huge penis. I
They
think.
call that COVID.
What's that looking like?
That's looking like a faint line, like a potential positive.
Potential positive.
Dean's got the COVID.
You should probably book yourself a PCR test, even though they're saying that the rapid antigen tests are about 90% accurate right now.
He's symptomatic too. So
There you go.
Yeah, it's looking like you probably have COVID there, bud.
Oh,
boy.
Bondzee brought back
5 days
Alberta
off,
COVID.
Dean.
I'm so sorry.
Wasn't me.
I had to leave it on that one. Too.
I mean, such a viral young man, like
Here's Daryl.
viral young man is got COVID and now erectile dysfunction for the rest of his life. I mean,
I couldn't.
it's
I don't know
disappointing
how
because he has so many more fields to sow.
Would you be able to go on with the limp dick lock? Do you think, or
No, I'd kill myself.
would be it? No.
No.
He didn't even have a chance to defend himself about that taking another man into a part of his anatomy on the show today. That's what we were actually aiming to do when we had him on there. Remember James offered up $10.
I had no part of this.
Yeah, James. Actually, you started it.
I'll be right back. One second.
James.
We just lost
James.
Blassie. This is a mistake. Him leaving.
Oh my god. What do you want to do? You want to go through his stuff? I have admin here. I can go through his stuff. But yeah, he was supposed to come on today, and I knew it. He messaged me around noon today, and he said, "Buddy, I feel like shit." I'm like, "How could you feel like shit? You were here. You were in my house." Like,
He fucking went downhill quick.
full disclosure, we had Bondzee over at the house yesterday for dinner, and we did again. I've got pictures of us giving him that's where this one came from. Was from us when Ashley gave him one of our rapid tests, and came up like not even a faint line or anything, and he was bouncy like normal Bondzee.
Yeah.
Had dinner. He had a tea. I had a drink, and he was out of here by 9 o'clock. He's like, "I'm going to go home. We got this and that, blah blah blah. Big day tomorrow." He woke up today, and he said it felt like a fucking truck hit him.
Yeah.
It happened that fast. So now the problem is he doesn't have any tests with him. I should have sent him with we have my kids in school, so we got the tests that they sent with the kids, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing with this one, and I think this is the reason why it's spreading so quickly, and a lot of people are talking about the level of contagiousness with this one, right? The thing that I think is different, and again, this is me just completely pulling this out of my ass,
Dr. Locke?
based
Dr.
based
Locke.
on conversations that I've had with multiple people. But the problem with what we're dealing with right now is everyone that I've talked to, they'll have a sniffle or they'll have a sore throat. They'll go get a test. Comes back negative. Then they'll continue to have symptoms. It might get worse. It might get better. They'll wait 2-3 days and they'll go, "Oh, fuck, I better test again. I still got these." Then they go test and now they're positive. So they're walking around living their life. And no judgment.
no.
They're living their lives based on the fact that they got a negative test.
They're
And
trying to do the right thing and
trying to do the right thing. And everybody that I've talked to is saying, like, everybody knows somebody that had symptoms but ended up testing negative and then ended up testing positive. So I think that's the problem with this one. For whatever reason, it's hiding in the background and it's not showing up on these tests right away.
Yeah.
And then when for whatever reason it shows up on it, but you've already been walking around in the most contagious. They're saying that over 500,000 people in Alberta have COVID right now.
500,000.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
In Alberta.
And we
They
were
have
talking. Go ahead.
30,000 positive cases, sorry, Glassy.
Nope.
But they're saying they feel like it probably, and there's a ton of asymptomatic people out there. Like our midday guy got it the same night that Army Chris got it. And here's the thing, Army Chris tested positive Jimmy tested positive. We kept Jimmy away when I found out he did what he did, and he went to this party. I said, "You're staying home."
When he did what he did.
Yeah.
And then
Smart.
he ended up testing positive at the end of the week, and he's been broadcasting from home since the 3rd of January. And he would tested negative. He tested negative until the end of the week, and then he tested positive. I think Army Chris had it from the Sunday night and gave it to fucking Bondzee. And I think Bondzee took it to fucking Ontario. And this is my theory, because Army Chris, who said he didn't have any symptoms, but lives a life in constant state of being hungover or drunk, didn't know that he had it. So
And God
he
love
didn't
him
even
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, God love him. But I think Bondzee took it to Ontario, and it just finally showed up in the last couple of days.
Yeah,
and I think he gave it to all you fuckers in Ontario, is what I honestly think it.
It's a good theory. Ashley tested twice at work today just to be safe, and once in the morning, once in the afternoon, because that's what she does. She administers the tests at work, and she was fine, but she's not feeling great. So I think it's the same as Dean, because Dean said he did a test, I think on Monday.
He was negative.
Or Tuesday, and he was negative. He was in the clear, and then he did the test today, and it came up positive, right? So this is Dean's test here, but later on, that T line, which is the one that needs to be filled out for it to be a positive, later on it was as red as the C line, as he told me on the phone.
Positive.
So yeah, he's definitely got COVID. So
could we agree on his own podcast that Bondzee's the super spreader?
Bondzee is a super spreader. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
And that he has erectile dysfunction. I mean, that's the other thing I think is probably a given.
I think it's very important to get that message out, that don't be like Bondzee. Make sure you get your booster or you will have erectile dysfunction. That's all there is to it.
Kidding aside, it is actually a major side effect of COVID.
It is.
Yep.
It is, along with...
pretty certain Bondzee's going to get it.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah. I think it was already probably sputtering on the way out. He's 48, right? It's probably already sputtering on the way out with everything else that goes on with that guy. So
Yeah.
Army
Well,
Chris is definitely
That's why we
got
divorced.
ED.
yeah, is that why he's so mad, do you think? That's why he's always angry?
Army Chris?
Yeah. I think that maybe that's why he's got that chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Did you guys happen to see what Wade did for Army Chris today?
No.
Because Army Chris had just come out of COVID. Wade
thought it was Amazon.
Is that really a nice thing to do, is to bring that shit fucking beer to somebody's house?
You know what, man? Take that back. Oh, pills, Hillary Clinton's. I'm telling you, listen, it's not my go-to, but if I'm over at Army Chris's, I really enjoy a cold pill. It's got to be ice beer, cold, man.
It has to
be ice cold. You
yeah,
can't
ice
drink
cold.
Pills warm.
It's like OV. Remember OV?
That's
old vagina
for Chris, though. That's nice. That's a nice gesture.
That smells like old vagina.
Yeah, Wade is that guy though. Wade is he's a good shit.
Wade's solid.
Yeah.
Wade is totally
That
solid.
is a really nice thing. Good for you, Wade.
OV has a aftertaste to it that I never. What is that?
Yeast infection, I think is what that's called. Yeast infection. It's some sort of venereal disease for sure, because it stinks and it tastes like old vagina.
It does have a smell to it. It does. There's a smell to OV.
Just go get the extra old stock.
Fucking disgusting.
That shit.
You know, we were drinking. We would get the black ones. What's it called? Fuck.
Black ice?
No. The dark. It's a
Iron
black
Horse?
can of extra old stock.
Iron Horse?
But it's like the high test.
Oh shit!
If you need to forget about why you're drinking this beer,
Old
get the high
stock.
test.
Black label.
Black
Label.
That's it. Black label.
Extra old stock.
Thanks,
Okay,
Bill.
so we were getting Jimmy and I started buying that. It's like 7%. But you have 3 of those and you're just shit tanked.
Yeah. And it tastes like absolute hell. Like it tastes like somebody dumped paint thinner into your beer.
It does taste like turpentine.
It does.
Like it feels like your tongue's tingling when you're drinking it.
I can't feel my face.
And
I know,
Jimmy and I were getting, because it's like
$8.
one can is like drinking 2 beer. Like
Yeah.
That's
That's
why we
so
were buying it. And there was some that and it was on special quite a bit too. I don't know why.
Because it's
But we would
expiring on the shelf.
We would go to the liquor store, and it would be like a 15-pack would be like
$8.
$17.99, and we're like,
Wait.
holy shit, you can't beat that.
Was this the stuff? Now you've told this story on the show before.
Yeah,
That Jimmy purchases beer by where it is on a shelf.
A lot of times, if he is because he's 4 feet tall,
right?
if he goes in for Budweiser, or whatever, and it's up high, he'll buy something down low. No, that
he won't
wasn't.
just ask somebody at the beer store.
We sent him to the liquor store one day when we were on the air. This was years ago. This is at the Bear, and there was like a block down the street. There was a cold beer wine store, and he won't. And Jimmy's a real proud man. He won't ask for help. So he came back. We gave him $20 or whatever, or $30, and he went down there to buy beer for us.
Yeah.
And he comes back, and he bought 67.
Molson 67 or whatever.
It's a no carb beer.
Yeah, that was Molson 60 or whatever, Molson 67, I think it was called.
Yes,
it was like that
it's only got
diet beer,
67
like
calories.
2.5% alcohol
Who brings
or
that
something
back?
stupid.
Oh, Glassy, we were fucking. I was so mad at him.
Fuck, get the
You owe me
fuck outta
$20.
It tasted like ass. Like
Oh, yeah.
I literally,
Brava or something. Don't bring back that shit.
even Brava's good. Like compared
Compared
this
to
stuff,
that,
man.
for
I drank
sure.
Brava in Fort McMurray because it was the exact same price in Fort McMurray as it was for a 15-pack of Budweiser here in British Columbia.
Yeah, I don't mind
the only
Brava.
Yeah.
Brava's not.
I
awful.
treat it
And
like
you can
a. I treat
It does
it like
when you
a.
drink in consumption.
What do you call
log.
it? Like a Corona. I put a lime in it and everything. It's fine.
If you're drinking beer,
Go.
cheap beer. If you're drinking cheap beer, and you get a beer for $1 a beer, right? If
Yeah.
it's around the $1 a beer thing,
Yeah.
you can't complain. There's no discuss. That's why the Molson Extra, the black label, the black cans, we
Yeah.
didn't complain about the fact that half my face went numb when you had 3.
Did you guys ever get in Alberta or even in BC? Did you guys get any of that the yellow label no name beer?
Yeah.
When they came out with that, did you try it?
Yeah.
It's
No, we don't have liquor stores that are super
No,
store.
it's not good.
It was good if you had it. Like again, it's one of those. It has to be ice cold.
I gotta run and get a beer. Hang on.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. We had it. We had it here, and the only time they ran, because this was Doug Ford's big thing. I'm going to run a $1 a beer campaign.
Oh yeah.
The only time it was ever $1 a beer was for like one long weekend. I think they ran it for, and you can get a 6-pack for like $6 plus deposit, and it was one long weekend. That was it. And I don't care what Locke says. It was good. It was a good beer. It wasn't
See,
terrible.
you guys have a thing that we don't have out here in British Columbia. I can't go to the grocery store. Like they got real Canadian fucking liquor store in Alberta. Like I was like, what? You know, because it's Costco cheap.
Huge
cheap.
move from
we don't have.
Manitoba.
We can get it only in the LCBO, the beer store, or in like certain grocery chains are licensed to carry beer and wine,
just started selling
but not
wine.
liquor.
They only just started selling wine in Superstore in British Columbia like a week ago. Or 2 weeks ago, probably.
BC's bad. Ontario's bad. Manitoba, I remember there was sheer panic on a Friday afternoon at because the liquor stores all shut down at 6 o'clock. It was fucking stupid. And they weren't open on the weekends. And they were closed long weekends. It was so weird. In Alberta, listen, I can get up on the roof of my building, on my house, and throw a rock in any direction, and I can hit a liquor store.
Somebody that's selling liquor.
They are everywhere.
Have you checked out the 7-Elevens yet? Now that
7-Eleven actually
7-Eleven
sells.
selling?
have you done it? Have you gone in?
North Alberta, we haven't. Actually, Grant has, because they were playing hockey up there, and they ran out of beer. So Grant was like, "There's a 7-Eleven," and you know what it is? It's literally 3 blocks away from Arnie Chris's place. Ironically, too.
Oh fuck! Of course, they did a study.
Yeah, they did a study. Yeah.
Where are we going to be?
Alcohol consumption comes out of the north end of Edmonton,
Yeah,
so we should put a liquor store there.
So they didn't have any. They didn't have any access to any booze. It was like late because in Alberta, if you're playing men's pickup, you're playing at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? So they had no access to booze. And Grant goes, you know what? We just called the 7-Eleven on the show that's selling booze. It's the first one in Alberta, and it's just down the. And they went down and bought some. I
just want to see it. I just want to actually like go into one and get a slushy and a. Is it just liquor or is it beer and wine or is there liquor?
We phoned the guy and he had was not. I'll just leave it at this. Was not a locker room listener.
Did he give you one of those? I hate that fucking thing.
No, that's not. No, I already. I hear you. But yeah, so you couldn't get a lot of details. I understand.
Well, he was very confused by our enthusiasm and by why we were asking questions about booze. And the one question we had is if we could go in and get like a big gulp and just fill it with beer. And he was like, "No."
I had beer slushies. Yeah, somebody said go to Quebec. The beer, and I used to actually work. I used to actually like hop a flight from here, go to Montreal for work, and then I used to love the fact that beside my hotel was a Max Milk. Well, out there, I loved it. They were called Couche Tard. I always call them douche tard. Couche Tard is the Max Milk of Quebec. So I used to go to the old Couche Tard and get myself a pack of beer for the hotel room. Yeah. And it was here. It's very controlled. Like if it's in a grocery store, the store might be open, but you might not be able to buy booze because it's not within the hours. So one thing I'll give Doug Ford credit for, when he came in, he extended all of our liquor store and beer store hours to like, instead of like you say 6 o'clock, they are now open on a Sunday until 8 or 10 o'clock if it's a major
crazy
hub.
What's gonna go wrong?
Right? It's fine. It's good. You have no idea how many times that's come in handy because you grow up and you get used to that 6 o'clock cutoff. So you're like, fuck, you're like racing the clock.
You're panicking.
I don't want to drink, then I can't drive to get to the store to get more beer. Well, now
we called it a walk of shame. If you ran out,
does it look like I do a lot of walking, Lassie? Just curious. That's something that strikes you when you look at me.
If you ran out of beer, then you'd probably have to do the walk of shame. I would not.
No, I have a wife who doesn't drink, who can drive the car.
Ashley doesn't drink.
No, she's very, very seldom. She had the last. She actually on New Year's we did the New Year's special, and I bought her. The only thing she'll drink is like for wine or sparkly things, she'll drink Moscato. So I got her this big magnum of Moscato. So she sat on this show. We were there for 3 hours with Dean and Karima and James, and she got through almost 3/4 of that bottle.
Wow! I would drink that if I was spending 3 hours with James too.
Well, once we were done, once we were done,
there I said it.
Once we were done that show,
color bars now.
We literally switched directly to the locker rooms all request night because you guys are 2 hours behind us. So it's like perfect. We still have 2 hours to sit here and keep getting drunk and listening to good music and talking and fucking with you guys on the phone. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, no, she doesn't drink. She's a teetotaler. She'll have a Caesar. She's a Caesar monster. She'll wreck me in a like if we have a Caesar contest to sit and drink Caesar, I'd be done. But she won't touch like brown liquors. She'll have the odd beer here and there in the summer, but she's nothing like us. Let's just say that.
Actually, it's on my list of people I don't trust. People that don't drink.
Should be. Be. She's very shifty. Very shifty.
She's in the garage smoking darts. That's what
she is right now. Guarantee she's down in the garage having a smoke.
Oh fuck! Send her a link. I love Ashley popping on while she's in the garage. Just
that's about it. Do we have anything else that we have to hit for Bondzee tonight?
Is the stripper coming back?
Is she
stripper?
Yeah,
Pixie is coming back next Wednesday. Yes.
Okay.
She will be here next Wednesday.
Trixie will be here next
Pixie.
Friday.
Pixie, not Trixie.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday. And next Friday
She hates buttons.
we might have to do a show on Friday because I think Greg's going to be fucking down on Friday too, or he's dead. I don't know, one of the two. But next Friday we have had to move them. Really Bad People. They're a band, killer band. I think they're out of Ontario. They'll be on next Friday. We got Glorious Sons coming up. We got a lot of big names lined up for 2022.
Glassy, can you do me a favor? I will pop on for just a couple of seconds, but I haven't talked to Brett and the boys from the Glorious Sons in quite a few years, and I know Bondzee has that contact, that connection. But I would love to come on and just say hi. Yeah.
Yep. I'll pop.
There's a version of a song I did with Brett that's up on my SoundCloud. I don't know if anybody's heard it, but I played face piano with Brett. Brett used to pop in. We were one of the first radio stations. I might have been one of the first radio stations in Western Canada to play the Glorious Sons.
Really?
And so they were quite fond of the Bear and me in particular. And they would come to town and just drive right to the radio station. And they would come up and just hang out with us.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah. I fucking love them. They're so good.
Fucking such a good live band. Oh my God. And that Brett he's a wildly talented kid, man.
Yeah.
I saw the video of actually not long ago of you and Jake
Buckley.
Buckley, you guys playing together, and I thought, man, that's a fucking wicked tune. Good job.
Tavern down below. I went into the studio and recorded with Jake years ago. They tracked me down. Somebody found out that I played face piano, and they tracked me down. And I went in and laid a track, and then, ironically,
is that the same guy that was on the night we were all on?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I recorded with a couple of people, but I've been lucky in my musical career, be it what it may, to actually play with some very talented people. But there's if anybody wants a link, just send me a quick note on Twitter or something.
I'd like to see it. I've never seen your SoundCloud. I didn't know you had one.
Yeah,
you should promote that a little more.
I archive. I use it more of an archive for the show.
Yeah.
And but I've got all the music that some of the cooler stuff that has ended up that I've ended up recording that I've got tape of. I put up a SoundCloud, so that Jake Buckley tune's up there. There's some other stuff that I've done over the years that's on there. I recorded with a band out of Winnipeg. They were fairly big for a very short period of time, but I did a Man of Constant Sorrow tune.
Come told me about that.
Yeah.
Do you remember who the band was? Was it
Tinfoil Phoenix?
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Sonic. They were called Sonic Bloom at first, but they had to change the name. It was a fight. Anyway, it was funny because I used to hang out with the drummer. We were really good friends, but we were heavy drinkers and bad drinkers back in the day. So, and anytime I went out with Steph, it was always just a fucking shit show. Like, it was just always
back in the day. That's like 2 weeks
every
ago.
night with Cub. Thanks, Luck.
Oh my God,
that's crazy. That's wicked though. I'd like to hear it if you could share that. And
I'll send the Gordy tune to you, Ryan. You'll like it.
Yeah, would you?
Oh, please to me too, if you don't mind.
I'll fire. But I got to finish the story. This is a weird story. So I was hanging out with Steph, and we were out on the town bouncing around from club to club. We were clubbers, we'd bars, right? And we were at a house party, and then he says, Brandon's calling us. Brandon Friesen is a producer. He's actually based out of Los Angeles now. And we've had him on, Ryan. Were you on the pod with Brandon? He's recorded with fucking everybody.
I don't think I was there
Kelly
for that.
Clarkson to Rob Zombie.
I never get to come on when
Billy
it's like
Ray
the
Cyrus.
cool musical guest. Dean
always
makes sure. Yeah, he always makes sure that I'm there for like the really clinical stuff.
Hardcore COVID.
Well, you're smart. That's your problem.
I don't like it. No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a lovable cunt, remember.
He's a good troller.
I'm
So
a
anyway,
troller.
Brandon was in Winnipeg for years and ended
Yeah.
up in Los Angeles, and now is a big time producer and works with everybody. He did the you know that band The Who, but HU. He actually produced that whole band, and
I've heard
his record.
I've heard them on the Locker Room. I've heard this. You guys talk about them on the. They just did a big concert just before like Christmas, right?
Yeah.
I do remember this.
Insanely good. So anyway, Brandon was working, and they all work at weird hours and stuff like that. So this is like 2:00 in the morning. We take a cab to Brandon's Studio 11 in Winnipeg. And he goes, Locke, I need you to go in, and we're working on a song. I need you to lay down some harmonica. And I am trashed. And
you don't even remember this.
I swear to God, I had no memory of this. I had to be reminded of it. So I went in. He plays the song through my headphones.
Yeah.
And I rip off, literally, I do my little thing. And I look up, the song ends, I look up, and they're all like cheering behind the glass. I'm like, so I'm done? So I did one take. I'd never heard the song before, never played on it. They just sent me into the room.
Oh, wow.
It was literally 5 or 6 years later. I'm driving from Winnipeg to Edmonton because my daughter, when we ended up in Edmonton, my daughter, ironically, had got accepted into the Royal Winnipeg Ballet, and we sent her back to Winnipeg to go to school and to train in ballet. So we would go back and forth, and we drove quite a bit to save money on flights.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like literally 4 or 5 years after I've left Winnipeg, 4 or 5 years after I laid this track down, and I'm flipping through the radio station, and I'm in Regina, and the fucking Wolf is playing this Tinfoil Phoenix, Man of Constant Sorrow, and I wasn't really paying attention, and my wife looks over at me and goes, that sounds like you. Is that you? And I went, what are you talking about? She goes, that sounds like your harmonica playing. And I turn it up, and I'm like, that's fucking me.
Cool.
So I call Brandon, and I'm like, were you guys going to tell me you put me on this fucking song? And he goes, what, you don't remember?
Too wasted.
I don't remember recording it.
That's so funny.
And didn't remember and found out about the song when I heard it on the radio. It was a fairly, like, I think they hit the top 10 in Canada when they released the song. The band was signed to Chad Kruger's label.
Yeah.
And it didn't last. It fell apart. It was
the band, or just like them,
the deal.
Like oh shit.
Okay. Yeah, and it's too bad because they were kind of like a Faith No More with hooks.
I like them.
Because they had kind of a rap thing, a rappy kind of thing every once in a while, and they missed their boat. If they would have been released at the end of the 90s in that post-grunge shit that came out,
I
think they would have been fucking huge. Like if they would have been thrown into the mix with the Seven Mary Threes and the Creeds, and all that shit that came
Sublime.
out of, all that shit that came out after everyone was mad at grunge, they would have been massive.
No shit.
They missed their boat, man.
That's too bad. I'd love to hear it. I've heard the story from you about and I laugh every time just because it makes me think of like how many millions of dollars is Keith Richards out from cutting something because he was too fucking wasted. Whereas opposed to you.
Did you hear Peter Jackson talking about putting together that Beatles doc? So he's released Get Back, and it's on Disney Plus.
the Disney Plus one, yeah.
So it was the final recording, Let It Be, right? So they were in the studio. They just rolled fucking cameras. So he took like 500 hours of video and crunched it down to like 30 or 40 hours, right?
Yeah.
And they've released it, or 3-4 hours, and they've released it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And he was like, he had access to Paul. to sort of clear, like, hey, this happened and blah, blah, blah. What were you doing here? And so occasionally they would get Paul on the phone, and Paul was like watching stuff going, oh, okay, that's where I came up with that. Kind of cool, right? Like, because they're just sitting there fucking around in the studio rolling tape, and he's like, oh yeah. And Peter he's a nerd, like he's a Beatles nerd. He's like, is that where you came up with the riff for this song? And Paul's like, yeah, I think right there I did.
I laughed. I watched that. I watched that one clip when they were promoting it, and it was and they were writing, I think it was Get Back, and they were sitting there eating in the studio, and Paul's going just, it's like, and you watched it progress.
Do it again. What?
And then they would just show up, and it'd be like, the words would just kind of float in, and they made no fucking sense, but they made all the sense, for the Beatles, and it was so good. I was like, this is amazing. I'm too cheap for Disney Plus, so I haven't seen it yet, the whole thing.
Locke, you're MD at your station, right?
Yeah. That's
he's a medical doctor. Yes, Dr. Locke,
music director.
I fucking print logs. I hit print.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah.
Glassy.
Would you
Glassy,
not?
can we hang on? Can we just not dive into the fucking postmortems of all radio with Lachlan tonight? Because then we're going to be here till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Postmortem. I was going with.
Are they dead?
Some of the best bands actually would get debuted on an Alberta station versus anywhere else across the country. There was a lot of times at 97.9, Rock 97.9. You probably got it at the Bear in Edmonton, where it would be like 3 fucking weeks before anybody like Sea Fox or what's the one in Ontario would debut this song. They'd be like, holy fuck, this is a great band. It's like, yeah, we know, we've been playing them for 3 weeks. Seriously, a lot of great bands come out of Alberta.
I mean, back, you know what? All of that depended on just who was in the building. Music directors. No one takes chances anymore at radio. Radio's too scared, and bands don't break on radio anymore. Bands break on social media. So that ship sailed 25 years ago.
YouTube is a big thing for that, and
YouTube, they don't even, bands don't even, they'll release shit now, and they won't even fucking think of radio as an afterthought. It is radio has to go find shit to play if they're interested. It used to be where radio was approached and was given a song and going, can you play this and this will break it for us.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen anymore.
Maybe not necessarily breaking. I speak of new music of bands coming out. If it's heavier, if it's edgier, it would be on an Alberta station sooner than it would be on somewhere like
I don't think so.
Boxer Q107. You don't think so?
No.
I don't know why they would try and break it in a market that was smaller than the biggest market in the country.
Wow.
So
I know what Glassy's getting at. He's making reference to different radio stations in Western Canada that used to take chances on bands, and Kelowna Power 104, which was the Lizard back in the day, used to fucking play bands before anybody else. And I mean, I was in Winnipeg. When I was in Winnipeg, we broke bands. When I was at the Bear, it means nothing. It means fucking shit. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It really doesn't. And radio just doesn't break music anymore. They just don't.
We broke a lot more up and coming song. Well, not even up and coming per se, but like the 3 Days Graces, the I Am Machine, blah 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 blah, versus 3 weeks later where it comes out on the West Coast here in BC. And my brother would text me. He's like, "Oh, you heard this new song?" It's like, "Yeah, we've been playing for like 3 fucking weeks."
Yeah, so, there's that just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. Plus, is radio playing new music at rock? It just doesn't exist.
It doesn't.
Are there rock stations anymore?
This is it. I was having this conversation with Dean the other day, and we were talking about how.
Go ahead.
So go ahead.
No, they're company stations, Brian.
We were talking about how Dean always shits on radio now, obviously, saying it's a dead medium. And I said to him, I said, but you know what's really funny? You know what's going to last? What's going to be the cockroach or the onion of the nuclear war and the nuclear bomb of radio is stations like Lachlan's, because, and like with that format, because the only people that still listen to radio are people like the ones that are tuning in to hear the music that you play on your station. They're not listening to podcast. Anybody that wants to hear new music streams it or listens to a podcast. Spotify, anything, Amazon Music. They're not going to the radio to listen. They're not tuning into a radio station in their car. They're literally plugging their phone in, or it's Bluetoothing to their stereo. But somebody that's in the demographic of the music that you play, like me and older, is not doing that. I will 60-40 in the car, plug it in to listen to whatever. I'll listen to what the classic rock station here has. That's just literally what's kind of stuck on my preset, because that's the only one that's bearable, because I don't know any of this new dancey techno, whatever the hell it is. There's no personalities on the air that's other than the rock stations. And there's it's very cookie cutter. It's like you can almost like spin the dial and they're all on the same rotation. Like you can almost hear the same songs in the same rotation because they're all owned by the same people, right?
I think what's ended up happening with radio is I mean, and I don't want to get too deep into this because this is fucking.
I just had that thought about the genre that your radio station plays is the one that will survive if there was ever an apocalypse in radio. That would be the one that stays. That and talk radio, obviously. AM talk radio is a different story as well.
I don't believe one. Is that what you just said? He'd be the last one.
I don't believe that radio is dead. I
don't think it's dead either.
Radio is going to die. I think radio is in a bad place right now because of a lot of reasons, and I think one of the biggest reason is because the overconsolidation of the business as a whole, based on the purchase from major companies.
Yeah.
So you've got these companies that chewed up all the radio stations in Canada and in North America, right across the board. I mean, there's very little regulation in the States with respect to ownership in markets. So you'll get a company, Live Nation owns radio stations. They'll have 8 fucking radio stations in Seattle, right? And they pick a bunch of different formats and they try to
see what won't work,
right?
Yeah,
and they
try
just jam
and
it down your
please
throat.
everybody.
Yeah. The thing is, in Canada, which I know a little bit more because I'm here and I know more about what we're dealing with, people are still tuning into radio. But the consolidation of it has crunched the. We had a funny conversation today in our staff meeting, right? The boss was like, "I just watched a seminar about how local is going to save radio," and I went, "Holy shit, really? That fucking let's ring a bell."
No way! Yeah.
Oh,
I said, it's crazy. You know what we should do then is we should get fucking Shirley to do an afternoon drive show on all of our radio stations. That'll be fucking local.
Yeah.
And he was kind of going, I know what you're saying. I know you're being gigantic. Like we've known this forever that local is going to win. And that's what we fucking do. You fucking cater to a local audience. You give them fucking local information like traffic and weather and news that's happening around the fucking city. And maybe they'll tune in. Guess what? And maybe put some people on the fucking radio station that might be somewhat entertaining and we're tuning into every morning. And you might garner an audience. Okay,
that's it. Somebody
the
that's got a pulse.
thing. The problem with the music thing is that it's been taken out of the equation because everybody's a programmer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has.
Everybody
one of
thinks
these
they know
in their hands.
I know how to do this.
Everyone thinks they're an expert at music.
I'm good at my Spotify list. I can totally do that job.
We had a guy that texted the morning show the other day and said his name's Russ. Russ Hines. Russ Hines is a P1, which is a heavy tuner of 95.7 Cruise FM.
P1.
And P1. It's just a term that they've used over the years in radio. And he was saying that he was pissed off about us because we repeat our music too much. Okay. And so I said to him, hey, listen, thanks for the advice. I'll pass it along to the boss that you have concerns about our playlist. And normally, I'm thinking the passive aggressive nature of my sarcastic dicky text would cut through. It did not.
No.
Russ wanted the boss's number so he could call him and give him some advice on how to
follow up.
Radio station.
Yeah, absolutely. You need a follow up. We need
music means nothing on a radio station anymore because
it's
everyone's a musical expert.
Yeah,
That's right.
So you're never going to win any battles on any dial position in any market in the country by figuring out how to put Bryan Adams into fucking Metallica.
You're
No
right,
one
because
fucking cares.
Yeah, because back in the day, nobody had control of that. They had like their cassettes or they had their vinyl, and they
Now
could
you
play
have
whatever. But they would hurt. That was so much work to do. They would just put the radio on. So then it was important to have somebody programming music properly. Now, everybody, you're right. Everybody's so different. Even though I love classic rock. I love classic rock too. They would have totally different fucking playlists between the two of them, right?
Absolutely.
So you can't please. You're right. You can't please everybody.
And Ryan, I've been saying this for 20 fucking years. We got to stop worrying about the music. We got to stop fucking focusing so much on the content. Listen, a playlist is important. A format is important because it brings in a certain demographic.
Yep.
Now, the other thing that's important is putting voices on there, giving people an opportunity to speak their minds, and letting them fucking do it. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, they're going to bring an audience in. And the surprising thing is, they'll bring an audience in that might not even give a shit about the music that's being played.
Exactly. Or even
I don't know how many times I have
audience like us.
Yeah, I don't even know how many times I've had a conversation with somebody that goes, "I don't listen for your music. I tune in because you guys are funny or you guys are entertaining."
Kelly joins Ryder because for the morning hosts.
Kel is married to Positive Mike, and Positive Mike and Kel don't like me because I'm honest with them. So she's just trying to get under my skin. I like it's not going to work. Kel. Try again.
I love Ryder. I worked with Ryder here.
I think another
he's
key,
a fantastic jock.
100%.
Another key,
fantastic 18th place jock in the marketplace.
Another key component, I think you guys nail it really well, is your audience interaction and participation that you guys
engagement.
Yeah, like so you guys are so in touch with the texting and the phones, and you're telling them, you know what, just phone us. Somebody will text you and you'll fucking phone them to get them on the radio. And it's like the other day when we talked, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, I'm sitting here doing my actual job. I'm like, oh, I'm listening. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll just send them something funny. Next thing you know, the phone's ringing and it's Lachlan Cross from Alberta from the radio station. Let's talk on the radio. So that I think is really...
You got a funny text.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, of course, right? But that's a connection. When you build that connection, that personal connection with your audience, you can't lose them. You can't lose those.
No, I think it's important.
Everybody wants to be a part of something. That's why they join badminton clubs. They join the rec leagues. They join.
Religion.
Everybody wants to be.
I've been thrown out of 3 badminton clubs in the last like 4 months.
But that's why everybody, if you present a content that everybody can relate to, that's a distraction from their lives, that's what makes fucking Bondzee so fucking successful. Is because his life, like no offense, his life's it's a yard sale. Right?
Yeah,
that's why
he'll be missed. It was so sad when I heard today that he died. I mean,
I'm glad that we did this memorial show.
Yeah, in his honor.
In his honor, yeah. So rest in peace, Bondzee.
Hey,
are we done? This is the longest.
Can we go? I remember it was 15 minutes.
One more, Locke, and just yes or no, no description, or no talk about it. Were you there for the Batista incident in Winnipeg?
Okay, so let's do the sponsors so we can get out of here.
Oh, you weren't there? Okay.
No, I wasn't there.
Let's do this one more time.
Yes,
so who's this?
This is Positive Mike's Brewing, brought to you by Positive Mike's out of Alberta, Canada. You can buy this.
If you want to be a pylon, order this shirt.
If you want to direct traffic at construction sites.
Holy,
go ahead.
Fuck, is that yellow? Wow.
I love it.
I
dig it.
Oh yeah, my eyes. I can't even see the screen now because it's so. And I know you wanted to bring this up too while we're here. Let's.
Oh yes, go ahead.
All right. So, Let's talk about this.
Wade. Doe's going through a massive undertaking in her cancer battle, about to take the steps.
Ugh.
And yes, and she's an amazing person. God love her. We have a GoFundMe. We
She's a
tweeted that
sweetheart.
the other night. We'll
She is a
retweet it
sweetheart.
again. Go to GoFundMe.com or /me or GoFund.me/3AFE.
We'll tweet the links out because
We'll
that's
tweet the
just
links
don't even bother
That's
trying
easier.
to
Yeah.
copy that down.
100%.
That's brutal.
Yes.
And then you had one more. You had this guy, right?
Shakespeare.
This is in
Fine
my town.
Yes, go ahead, Ryan.
One of the best steaks you will ever have, and this place has been around since what is it, 1954 or 1952 or
1954, I believe.
I was pretty close, but yeah, Shakespeare's fine dining is fantastic. If you're looking for steak, seafood, like their lobster tails, they do this like poached lobster tails, and then
Son of a bitch, I'm hungry now.
look at
I know.
it. See those grill marks? Just everything that comes out of there is just pure gold. So
Caesar got Lindley
they're only doing
right
curbside. Everything here in Ontario is closed down for indoor dining. So check them out 4 to 8 p.m. Wednesday to Saturday.
You bet.
Oh, and Tamara put a apparent update on the GoFundMe this morning. Funny, actually, side note with Tamara, she's been hunting 7-Elevens to get me a picture of them serving liquor.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So she's wandering around North Edmonton right now trying to get pictures of them.
Awesome.
selling
That's
liquor.
good stuff.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Yep.
Hey,
So
listen, thanks for
Lachlan,
having me. God rest.
thanks for
your
having me.
soul, Bondzee.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be missed.
Pleasure. You will be missed.
Bondzee, we hardly knew you.
We hardly knew you. Yeah.
Thanks, Classy.
Ryan. Yeah, Lachlan, thanks, man. Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM. Ryan Lindley, Sheeple Shepherd Podcast. Join in on their shenanigans as well. Of course, you can find Bondzee live on all the social medias. You can buy swag off the store that he never updates. It's a lot of fun. You can also go to Positive Mics and get that cool t-shirt. Bondzee scheme. It's habanero mango. It's beautiful. Go get it. Positive Mike's Brewery. Hit them up on Twitter. Special shout out to Pixie, who is going to be on the show tonight. She'll be back on next Wednesday. And as well, the band coming up Friday, Really Bad People, they will be next Friday because Mr. Bonzarelli probably has COVID, maybe dead. We don't know. Who knows? You know? But keep sharing. Keep being out there for everybody. Like Wade's been for Army Chris, dropping up a 2-4. Fuck yeah. God love him. Special thanks to Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM, and Ryan Lindley. And yeah, that's it. Glassy took over the keys, and we did what? An hour and 7 minutes. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you Friday.